Good evening. I'm Dr. Walter Christman, the co-founder and chairman of the Global Challenges Forum Foundation in Geneva, Switzerland. I'm also the president of the Burlingame Foundation in my home state of California in the United States of America. I'm pleased to greet you today on the occasion of the United Nations designated International Day for Tolerance, November 16th. That also happens to be the 10th anniversary of the Global Challenges Forum. And on this date, November 16, 2020, the founder of Global Challenges Forum, my good friend and partner, His Excellency, Dr. Talal Abu-Ghazaleh, is issuing a call for America and the world to co-create with China in the spirit of Anson Burlingame, the development of global partnership principles for the 21st century. In his open letter to America and China from an Arab friend, Dr. Abu-Ghazaleh calls for an informal gathering of wise leaders from both nations, who together with invited advisors from other nations may work to fashion a shareable discourse and an agenda for future collaboration. The Global Challenges Forum Foundation would be pleased to convene such a meeting in Geneva, Switzerland this coming year, in collaboration with all interested stakeholding partners. This initiative is in line with the principles of the United Nations Global Compact, which was founded by UN Secretary General Kofi Annan as chairman and was co-chaired by Dr. Abu-Ghazaleh, which he continued to co-chair with the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. In support, our foundation has launched a virtual Global Partnership Summit online that will serve for 1 year as a facilitating partner, inviting the leaders of all nations, international organizations, global corporations, foundations, and indeed global citizens everywhere to join in the process of establishing a new global partnership for the 21st century. We have established the website www.uschinatolerance.com to serve as a platform to host and manage the global engagement process. And we are seeking participants to co-develop principles for global partnership in the 21st century that are reaffirming of the goals and the objectives of the United Nations. Moving beyond his previous concerns that the United States and China may be headed for war, Dr. Abu-Ghazaleh is advocating in the aftermath of the U.S. presidential election that the two nations now begin jointly to articulate their shareable interests with the rest of the world. Dr. Abu-Ghazaleh seeks to assure the good future that all nations deserve and may realize through a process of global collaboration can be achieved. For that, we must turn our attention to promoting resilience, developing tolerance, resolving supply chain difficulties, increasing equity around the world, and above all, encouraging our youth to build a sustainable future. In helping to break the chains of the contemporary crisis and help both nations see their way to a better tomorrow, in essence, Dr. Abu-Ghazaleh, in acting as a representative and voice of the Arab world, is serving as an ambassador of tolerance for both America and China. And in that role, he is serving as a global citizen in the spirit of Anson Burlingame. Anson Burlingame is a little-known statesman of the 19th century, but whose principles and methods are worthy of study today as a guide for reconciliation. Burlingame's service, legacy, and merit are compelling and deserving of recognition as a beacon of liberty and leadership needed in every generation, including our own. Burlingame's advocacy of tolerance and equality created a positive legacy for America to draw upon today, for all races, including white America. Burlingame was a fierce abolitionist in the fight against slavery. As a congressman, and he was a founder of the Republican Party. He was appointed by President Lincoln to serve as the United States ambassador to China, and later was appointed by the Qing dynasty to serve as their ambassador to the United States and Western powers. Burlingame became the first and only person in the world to ever become an envoy from one nation to then return as an envoy to the sending nation. He was responsible for negotiating for China with the United States what became known as the Burlingame Treaty, the first equality of nations treaty between any Western power in that country. After securing U.S. approval, he led Chinese diplomatic delegations as the head of their delegation to England, France, Prussia, and Russia, seeking the same. Anson Burlingame died at the age of 49 from pneumonia at the Tsar's court in St. Petersburg, Russia. At his passing, the famous American author Mark Twain wrote of him, "It is not easy to comprehend at an instant's warning the exceeding magnitude of the loss which mankind sustains in this death. The loss which all nations and all peoples sustain in it, for he had outgrown the narrow citizenship of a state and become a citizen of the world. And his charity was large enough and his heart warm enough to feel for all its races and to labor for them. He was a good man and a very, very great man. America lost a son and all the world a servant when he died." I submit to you that Anson Burlingame was both America's and China's first globalist, and as the famous author Mark Twain said, a citizen of the world. To be a citizen of the world does not require renouncing one's country. After all, important elections are meaningless without voters, and national citizenship is the most important prerequisite. Yet just as national citizenship bestows privileges and responsibilities, so does global citizenship. For it recognizes that one's country is part of a global community of nations, and that national security need not preclude international security. And education in global citizenship includes learning about one's own country and about other countries. It is learning about nations of fellow human beings, peoples whose histories and circumstances have produced different cultures, different ways of life, different ideas, but as human beings that are worthy of respect and efforts to understand them. In short, being a global citizen means you foster tolerance, you promote resilience, and your focus is to create a sustainable world for the next generation. So I am proud to say that in carrying forth his message of a global partnership declaration, our founder, His Excellency, Dr. Talal Abu-Ghazaleh, has distinguished himself as the Anson Burlingame of the 21st century. In our contemporary era, it serves us well to remember that America once deeply fought racism and promoted tolerance, embraced dignity and promoted human rights for all, and established the principle of equality and mutual respect among nations. This standard has been the glory of the United States of America. And starting today, November 16th, 2020, let it rain once more. Let it silence the drums of war. Thank you very much.